Now, Herbie, we've said that part of the inspiration for this forum, this notion of several days, where there are one or more public lectures, but this master preacher, this leader, mentor, guide whom we bring in each year, also works with younger preachers, and that model is inspired by your work at the College of Preachers in Washington, D.C. And I think we've got a picture of you teaching there at the college. So there it is. Yeah, there you are in full. There's Herb O'Driscoll in full teaching flight in D.C. And Herbie, you wrote a piece about that very special time and place in your memoir book, I Will Arise and Go Now. And I wondered if you might read part of that for us, just to bring us back to that sense of what those weeks were like, and the vibe, if you will, that we're trying to recreate here at VST.
Thanks, Ian. I would simply love to. For 2 years, I had the privilege of serving as warden of what was then called the College of Preachers. The college, a magnificent building in its own right, stood on the close of the immense cathedral of St. Peter and St. Paul, usually referred to as Washington National Cathedral. For more than half a century before Paul and I arrived, the college had offered courses in preaching to clergy from all over the United States and Canada particularly. It was regarded as a really significant resource within the Episcopal Church. The rhythm of its life was weekly, Monday to Friday. Coming in on Sunday and Monday, clergy would arrive from across the church. Those coming for the first time would be curious and excited to be not only at the college, but also quite literally in the shadow of the National Cathedral, and within a short taxi ride of the heart of their national capital. From Monday through the closing Eucharist on Friday, there was a pattern of, obviously, homiletical instruction, sermon preparation, recreation, meals taken together, and daily worship. On 2 afternoons, really important, on 2 afternoons, participants, they shared their homilies in small groups, and they received feedback from their peers. Very interesting that this was what was frequently cited as the most rewarding part of the week. For me, those 2 years as warden were a deep learning experience. Put simply, I realized that the college was far more than a place for teaching and learning. It was nothing less than a place of healing. In an age when clerical ministry was becoming increasingly stressful and demanding. And of course, those stresses and demands have never been greater than they are right now. The experience of attending the college alongside colleagues with similar challenges and the potential to be part of this healing process. One inescapable reality of contemporary life, as all of us know well, is the symptoms of relentless disintegration at all levels of experience: societal, relational, familial, personal. Traditions are challenged, ideologies clash, congregations in the world of the church become factional, a diffuse and unfocused anger pervades life. resentment grows at both the status quo, but also at attempts to change the status quo. The fabric of both society and church wrestles with tensions and stresses. Such was the baggage brought by clergy to their week at the college. In response, the institution offered some things that might assist with what sometimes could be a desperate search on the part of a particular man and woman for the integration of their lives and the affirmation of their ministry. For one thing, the college architecture itself, very traditional, both interior and exterior, was gracious and in itself healing. For another, a visit to the heart of the nearby capital provided opportunities to engage the symbols and structures of the nation's life. I saw quickly as a Canadian that that was most important for those who came. So with all this came the relationships that developed during the week. Friendships renewed, sometimes after many years. Conversations, sometimes one-on-one, at other times in groups, all serving to remind a vulnerable priest that he or she was not alone in their struggle to retain a sense of vocation. So to add to all this, a priest could expect to receive insights about the homiletic task that would often reignite passion to replace what had too often become a disheartened and jaded attitude to the duty of preaching. Now, while I was warden for only 2 academic years, I remained part of the college's life for the next 25 years as adjunct faculty. As these years went by and the unrelenting tides of change continued to flow over the church and society, as a century ended and a century began, I could see that the healing aspect of the college's work was becoming, if anything, even more significant and valuable. Ironically, the need for this healing role became more and more obvious at the same time as the Church's sense of the importance of the homiletic function was somehow lessening. In May 2008, the College of Preachers, which had opened in 1929, was closed. Since then, happily, it has received a new lease on life, thanks to some extremely generous benefactors who've contributed to a permanent endowment. It's in the process of reopening as the Cathedral College of Faith and Culture. Programming is being broadened to encompass music, liturgy, and the arts, ethics, public engagement, spirituality, and leadership for both laity and clergy. All this seems appropriate for such an institution in the 21st century. Permit me to express the hope that in all these changes and new possibilities, consideration will be given to its role as a place of healing and renewal for those who accept the fulfilling but demanding vocation of ordained ministry in this 21st century, alongside their lay brothers and sisters who exercise the equally vital and equally stressful ministry of all baptized Christians. And let me add that when we speak of the variety of directions of that Cathedral College of Faith and Culture, we have very similar hopes for the new O'Driscoll Forum that we're seeking to establish at VSD.